My name is Zach Ciota. I am the host of HVAC Shop Talk Podcast. We're taking a look at the Qwik Swap X1 single-speed ECM motor replacement. And we're talking about X13 motors here mainly. So if we see this circuit board, it's pretty small. It's only about 4 inches tall and 2 inches wide. You can see it compared to my hand here on the side. Pretty small circuit board. The purpose of this board is so that when you're removing an X13 motor from an air handler or furnace or package unit, you can replace it easily with a PSC motor. Although many of us use relays and simple means to accomplish this, you can also use boards like this, and again, this is from Qwik Products, it's called the X1, to do the same thing. It makes it more plug and play, so to speak. We're going to take a look at these things, and I'm going to sort of tell you each one of the terminals and what they do, and how easy it is to wire this thing up. First and foremost, when we're taking out an ECM motor like an X13 and putting in a PSC motor, there's going to be a little bit of stuff that you don't see from this video, like our run capacitor here. We're going to need to use a run capacitor. Need to find a place to mount that. There's going to be some wiring that doesn't come directly to the board. Like your two brown wires from an aftermarket motor typically go to a run capacitor. One will be brown and one will be brown and white. So that won't be covered here. Just the connections to this board to show you how easy it is to use this board and what all goes into installing this board and putting the wiring on it. So let's take a look at the different terminals. We'll go one by one. I'll let you know what each one of them does. At the top it says speed, and right below that is a common. So common here and speed. Those are just the connections to the motor itself. You have a speed tap coming from a motor, and typically if you have an aftermarket motor, you either have 3 speeds or 4. Once you decide on the speed that you need for your application, you'll put that wire right here on this terminal, labeled speed. The common for the motor, just like any other wiring that you guys have done, there'll be an L2 or a neutral that'll come through here and go onto the air handler or furnace motor that you're installing. Pretty simple stuff. If you look below that, you'll see 2 rows. And those 2 rows, on the top you see C, L, G, and N. You have common, line, ground, and neutral. Now your common is a low voltage wire. Your line is your L1. Your ground is exactly that, your ground connection. And then you have your neutral. Your neutral refers to your 120 volt motor. This terminal is also L2 on a 240 volt motor. And that usually comes either in a plug or individual stay-cons. The second row, 1 through 5, is your motor speed selection from your ECM motor. You won't be selecting any particular speed on this. That's just where your plug plugs back into this board. So you basically take your plug out of your ECM X13 motor and plug it right onto this board. Really simple. So all the connections we've had so far are speed, common, and just the plugs that were already in your ECM motor. Sometimes these right here aren't in a plug. It just depends on the motor. But this one is almost always in a plug. You just take it off and plug it right in. At the very bottom, we have a plug R, delay after break. So what happens if you put a 24 volt hot signal, let's say you come off your thermostat with a duplex stay-con, bring another red or hot signal depending on what color it is, typically it's red, over to this terminal. After the signal breaks to this board from the G call, you'll have a 3-minute runtime. Sort of like having a delay on break. That's all it is. It's just built into it to purge the ductwork. So it's really simple, really small, really simple, nothing much to it. Just a really easy way to plug and play when you're replacing an ECM X13 style motor with a PSC motor. Like I said, there's a little bit more wiring than we discussed here. There's a capacitor. You have to mount the capacitor somewhere. You have to find a spot to mount this board too. Sometimes that can be an issue. But that's just a quick look at it. We're going to be giving this board away along with the V3 and a set of Testo Smart Probes to the person that can create the best logo for the HVAC Shop Talk podcast. So if you are artistic in nature, give it a shot. You might win a couple boards and a set of Testo Smart Probes, which is not too shabby as far as prizes. Guys, I appreciate you stopping by and taking a look at this with me. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. We'll try to do the other board as well if I have a chance. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Guys, what we're looking at here is just an X13 motor, a Gentech motor, and you can see the 2 rows there with the plugs plugged into the motor. All you're going to do to work with this board is take the plugs out of a motor like this and plug them directly into the board. You can see the C, L, G, and N and the 1 through 5. This is a similar style connection. Only difference is this one isn't built right into the motor. There's wiring that goes from this plug to the motor. You can see it in the distance over there where there's a module. This is the Broad Ocean motor, the most horrible of all ECM motors. That's just my opinion, though. I interjected my opinion there. But as you can see, there's a plug that plugs directly into this plug pictured that will go onto the X1 board. So if you run into this style, that's no problem. Same thing, just a different application. Take the plug out, put it directly into the board just like you would on the previous motor. Save 8% off your order at TruTech Tools by using the Shop Talk promo code.